Good day. The day spends itself well. Today I've ended up deciding to make this recording in the late afternoon. Usually I do it in the mornings, but there's a different feeling that comes, at least to me, at this point of day. In these readings, now we're at the end of September, on the 26th Sunday in Ordinary Time. In the first reading, Amos chapter 6, at the beginning of that chapter, woe to the complacent in Zion. What are they complacent about? Well, they're just enjoying the good things that they have, and they're wealthy, and forgetting about the fact that there are problems in Zion, that the place is disintegrating, and they're just thinking about themselves. They're in wanton revelry, he says. Yet they are not made ill by the collapse of Joseph, the collapse of Israel, the collapse and they're going to be carried off into Babylonian captivity. That introduces us to the gospel reading, Luke chapter 16, verses 19 to 31. The rich man, who just simply enjoys all the good things he has and doesn't pay attention to the fact that there are people who have nothing. In fact, there's Lazarus at his front door who's in extreme need, and he doesn't pay attention to him. The result of that is, when they die, their situations are reversed. Lazarus has all the good things of heaven, and the rich man ends up in the poverty of hell. What is all of this pointing to? What's the background to this? I find a good way to understand the background to this is from a previous Sunday's readings. And that particular Sunday was the 19th Sunday in Ordinary Time. I was back in August the 11th. Luke chapter 12, verses 32 to 48, when we talk about the prudent servant, whom the master will put in charge of his servants to distribute the food allowance at the proper time. I think the underlying understanding here is that we are stewards, not owners, of the good things of this world. God is the creator of all good things, and consequently is the owner of all good things. We are held responsible for those good things over which we are put in charge. We're responsible for them, but they're not ours. They still belong to the Lord. We're stewards. The question is, are we good stewards or not? Now, there's a sense of proportionality here that comes at the end of that reading back on the 19th Sunday in Ordinary Time from Luke, which says, much will be required of the person entrusted with much, and still more will be demanded of the person entrusted with more. Proportionality, responsibility in proportion to what has been placed in our care. The understanding, to go back to it, is we really don't own anything. When we go down that aisle on the day of our funeral, that's what we own. Nothing. It's as if we're going back to the state before we were born, actually before we were conceived. Nothing is ours. We have been placed in charge over those things, and we're going to be held responsible for them, but they're not really ours. All good things belong to the Lord. They're the things of our natural talents that come to us by the way of our inborn gifts. For example, our IQ, talents for music, intellectual things, for sports, for manual skills, the arts. We know of people who are virtuosos in these things. They just have a gift for them. And to some extent, all of us have gifts. Some of the gifts are great. Some of them are just moderate. Some low. Then there are the opportunities that life has given us. Educational opportunities, religious upbringings, financial help, social and family connections, on and on and on. All of those are the good things that have been given to us, for which we are stewards, not owners. How have we used those good things to serve God's will? God's will is love. How we use those things to build up God's kingdom. Thy will be done, thy kingdom come, in the Our Father prayer. That's the judgment. We are responsible for what we have been given. How well have we looked after our responsibilities? Lord, if we need to be jarred a bit, jar us, so that at the end, when we face him, the judge, we do well. Because we listened, we paid attention, and we changed accordingly. Going back to him in prayer, saying, Dear Lord, help us to make sure I do well, that I am judged well, that I do well in this world, that I am a good steward of all these good things you have put under my care. God bless you all.